Welcome back to Kdramas Decoded. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of your favorite drama. Episode 9 of Dream to You brings the complicated love triangle between Iji, Woo Soo-bin, and Sung-moo to a whole new level. What begins as an awkward reunion on a film set quickly turns into jealousy, unresolved feelings, and an unexpected confession from Sung-moo. But just when Iji finally makes it clear where her heart belongs, a shocking scandal threatens to turn her entire world upside down. The episode begins on the set of GK Love Song, where Sung-moo is filming as a featured actor. Before filming even properly gets underway, Sung-moo gets injured while trying to help someone on set. Thankfully, it turns out to be only a minor scrape. Iji immediately worries about him and takes him to the medics. The incident also gives them a chance to talk privately. Sung-moo admits that he was surprised when he heard Iji would be directing the project. He had assumed she wouldn't want to see him again after their breakup. Iji, however, tells him that she never hated him. She even admits that she feels guilty about how their relationship ended, saying she wasn't a good girlfriend to him. It's clear that despite the years that have passed, there is still a lot of history between them. Things become even more awkward when Sung-moo realizes that Iji's current boyfriend, Woo Soo-bin, is also connected to the production. Soo-bin is shocked to discover that the man he has heard about, the famous first love from Iji's past, is actually Sung-moo. Soo-bin had known that Iji once dated someone important, but he never expected that person to suddenly appear right in front of him. He tries to act casual, but it's obvious that he's uncomfortable. The situation gets even worse when everyone starts talking about how close Sung-moo and Iji used to be. Their friends reveal that the three of them used to spend a lot of time together when they were younger. Sung-moo also clearly remembers little details about Iji from their past, including the food she liked, the places they used to visit, and even things she disliked. For Soo-bin, that history is difficult to watch. He realizes that Sung-moo knows a version of Iji that he never got to experience, and that's exactly what starts making him jealous. Meanwhile, Sung-moo doesn't seem interested in hiding his feelings. At lunch, he goes out of his way to treat the entire production crew to food. He jokes around with everyone and makes it obvious that he has become successful enough to take care of the people around him. The others tease Iji about how lucky she is to have someone like Sung-moo around. Soo-bin tries to pretend he doesn't care, but his jealousy becomes increasingly obvious. He also notices how naturally Sung-moo and Iji interact. They have years of shared memories, inside jokes, and old nicknames. At one point, Sung-moo even asks Iji for her new phone number. She agrees, only to discover that his number is already saved on her phone because it had transferred over from her old device. That tiny moment makes the situation even more awkward, as Sung-moo notices that she still had his number without even realizing it. Later, the production moves on to filming the more dangerous action scenes. Sung-moo is determined to do his own stunts, and Iji becomes worried that he might hurt himself again. While they rehearse, Sung-moo keeps trying to break through the formal distance Iji has created between them. He asks why she's speaking to him so formally and whether he's making her uncomfortable. Iji insists that they're simply working together as an actor and director. But Sung-moo doesn't give up. He tells her that he is genuinely happy to see her again. He also reminds her that she once dreamed of becoming a director while he dreamed of becoming an actor. Now both of them have achieved those dreams, and somehow, they've ended up working together again. For Sung-moo, it feels almost like fate. He even admits that he missed hearing her call him by his old nickname. But Iji knows that allowing those emotions back into their professional relationship would be dangerous, so she draws a clear line. She tells him that while they're on set, they need to treat each other only as an actor and director. Sung-moo agrees, but it's obvious that he hasn't given up. Later, he has a conversation with Soo-bin. Sung-moo realizes that Soo-bin knows about their relationship and their history, and he learns that Iji and Soo-bin are still together. Sung-moo brings up the fact that he and Iji were each other's first love. He even reveals something Soo-bin didn't know. Iji had apparently told him in the past that she broke up with her first love without ever sharing a first kiss. Soo-bin eventually became the person who gave her that first kiss. Sung-moo listens to the story, but it's clear that hearing about their relationship bothers him. He then tells Soo-bin that he intends to do his best during his short 3-episode appearance, and from that moment, the rivalry between the two men becomes even more obvious. Soon after, the production reaches an important kiss scene. Iji works with the actors to choreograph the scene, discussing exactly how the characters should approach the kiss. At first, the scene doesn't feel quite right. Ichi then has an idea. Instead of having the male character initiate the kiss, she suggests that the female character should take control. The reason is important. The female character is supposed to be confessing her love to someone who is technically her enemy. Ichi explains that this could represent the first real choice the character makes for herself. That interpretation immediately changes the scene. They film it again, and this time everything works. The kiss scene is completed in one take. But while everyone else is focused on the drama they're filming, Sang-moo is clearly distracted by something much more personal. Watching Ichi direct the scene reminds him of their past. He still hasn't moved on. As the production approaches its final days, someone suggests that the entire crew should go on a retreat together. Everyone agrees, and Sang-moo offers to arrange a glamping site he regularly visits. Of course, he also insists on going with them. Subin is not exactly thrilled. He already dislikes how close Sang-moo is to Ichi, and now they're going to spend even more time together outside of work. On the drive to the retreat, Subin finally admits how jealous he is. He explains that what bothers him isn't simply Sang-moo's appearance or success. It's the fact that Sang-moo knew Ichi during a period of her life that Subin wasn't part of. He imagines what Ichi must have been like when she was younger and wonders how close they must have been. Ichi tries to reassure him, telling him that she's happier and more confident now than she was in her 20s. Subin jokingly points out that this should probably make him even more worried, but underneath the teasing, Subin's insecurity is genuine. Eventually, he admits that even though Sang-moo may have treated Ichi well in the past, he still doesn't like him. He asks Ichi whether Sang-moo is really that handsome. She teases him by saying yes, but then reassures Subin that he's handsome too. It's a sweet moment between them, but the tension surrounding Sang-moo hasn't disappeared. The episode then shifts to the retreat, where the cast and crew gather for games and activities. Sang-moo, being the celebrity that he is, arrives fully prepared for the camping trip with food, equipment, and everything else they could possibly need. Everyone is impressed. Meanwhile, the others are determined to win the prizes, especially a refrigerator. The first major game is pair dodgeball, and everyone starts choosing partners. Subin is naturally worried about Ichi and wants to stay close to her. Sang-moo also gets involved, turning the game into yet another opportunity for the two men to compete. During the game, Ichi gets knocked around, and Subin immediately checks on her, but eventually, the competition gets chaotic and people start getting eliminated. After the games, some of the characters head off on their own while others continue enjoying the retreat. Subin also has his own storyline involving his personal responsibilities. At one point, someone gives him a ride because he needs to take his driver's license test. Meanwhile, back at the company, a completely different problem is brewing. A photo from the unofficial retreat gets posted online despite everyone being told not to share anything. The company's CEO becomes furious. She storms into the office and demands to know who posted the photo. The situation reveals just how badly she treats the people working underneath her. She particularly lashes out at one of the directors, blaming him for failing to control the staff, and reminds him that she was the one who helped him when he had nowhere else to go. But her words only push him further. He finally starts questioning why he continues working under someone who treats him so badly. His colleagues encourage him to leave and start his own company, and surprisingly, he decides that if they really mean it, he'll follow them. Back at the retreat, the atmosphere becomes more relaxed. Ichi has been drinking, and Sang-moo notices that she has disappeared. He eventually finds her outside. When she asks why he came looking for her, he tells her that he was worried. Ichi asks whether he would have worried about her if she weren't his ex. Sang-moo admits that he would have, but then he takes the opportunity to remind her that they're completely alone. No staff, no friends, no one watching them. He asks her to be honest with him, just like she was during their past relationship. Ichi refuses to give him the answer he wants. Sang-moo follows her and tries to stop her from leaving, but before anything can happen, someone comes looking for Ichi, and the moment is interrupted. Later that night, Ichi meets Sang-moo again at the observation deck. This place has special meaning for the two of them. Years ago, whenever Ichi talked about breaking up with Sang-moo, he would bring her there to look at the stars, telling her that he would be her star. But now, the place has completely changed. The quiet forest they remembered has become a glamping site, and the sky isn't filled with the same number of stars anymore. Sang-moo tells Ichi that even though 10 years have passed, his feelings haven't changed. He still likes her. He reminds her that they met when neither of them had anything, struggling and trying to build their lives. Now that they've both succeeded, he wonders whether things could be different between them. But Iji finally gives him the answer he has been avoiding. She tells him that she still loves Woo Subin. Sung-moo is devastated, but before he can push the conversation further, Subin arrives. He makes it clear that he knows exactly what Sung-moo is trying to do. Subin tells him that he and Iji aren't simply a thing of the past. They're still together. He had held back because Sung-moo didn't know about their relationship, but now that he does know, Subin asks him not to cross the line. It's a direct warning. The love triangle has finally reached a point where Subin is openly confronting Iji's first love. And then, just when it seems like the biggest problem is the romantic tension between the three of them, the episode delivers a massive twist. The next day, the production is interrupted by reporters who suddenly storm onto the set demanding answers. At first, everyone is confused. Then, the reporters start asking questions